Welcome, dear friends, once again. In the last class, we had been learning about our ladies juggler. Let us recap some information about the last class. Yeah, see here, very important, the prior who convinces the juggler to come with him to the monastery. Now that Barnabas has become monk, who is living with all the monks, and in that monastery the prior who is to write the books, and brother Maurice who is to copy the treatises, okay, and brother Alessandra who is to decorate those treatises with delicate miniatures, okay, and brother Alexandre who depicted Eve uh, in the presence of Mary in some pages of the book, as well as his creativity. Here one more is there, one more brother Marpod is there, sorry. We have to start today's continuation of that story from here. So brother Marpod too was one of the cherished children of Mary in that monastery there, okay. There are many brothers, as we have seen. They have been submitting themselves, and they have been offering their own kind of devotion to the Mary, the goddess Mary, that is the Virgin Mary. And one of those brothers is brother Marbod. He was also one of the cherished children of that Mary, means he is also offering his devotion in the form of some art. So what is his art? He was ever busy cutting images of stone. He was a person who used to create images out of stones, okay. And what we call him normally sculpture, okay, sculpture. So he used to make images from the stone, so that his beard, his eyebrows and his hair were white with the dust. Always his beard, his head always white with the dust of that stone, and his eyes perpetually swollen and full of tears, because when you cut the stone, the pieces of stone may trash inside the eyes. So that's how his eyes were stolen, full of tears. But he was a hardy and happy man in his old age. He was hardy, means he was a very hard working and happy man in his own kind of, in his own way of offering the devotion to the Virgin Mary. So he used to cut the images out of stones. That is, he is a sculptor. Now, yeah, and there was no doubt that the Queen of Paradise watched over the declining days of her child. That is brother Margot. So that is how Queen, or we may say Virgin Mary, used to watch this man working very hard when he offers the prayers, or when he offers his own kind of devotion to the Mary, or we may say Virgin Mary. Marbo represented her seated in pulpit, different kinds of hands. I would like to tell you something, that he used to make different kinds of images in the stones. He used to cut the different style of different way of sitting, different way of standing of the Virgin Mary in the stones. And sometimes he used to make her seated in a pulpit, sometimes her forehead encircled by a halo with an orb of pearls, okay, pearls. She that was there in the neck of yeah, Virgin Mary. He was at great pains to make the folds of her robe cover the feet. Yeah, that is how her dress. Yeah, the word robe means the dress. Okay, robe, that dress has to be made like folds, folds to cover her feet. So this was very difficult task to make them all those things in the stone. Yeah, Okay, and the prophet, sometimes about this, the prophet has said that my beloved is like a closed garden. Okay, one of the prophets, after looking at that a stone image, told about that my beloved is like a closed garden. Yes, it was like a beautiful thing. Ultimately, that prophet has said. At the times, he represented her as a graceful child. Sometimes the brother Marbod represented Virgin Mary as a graceful child, and her image seemed to say, "Lord, thou art my Lord." So that image looked like, and that image seemed to speak like that. "Lord, thou art my Lord" means it is saying to the sculpture that you are my Lord, means your devotion is ultimately superb. Your devotion is so much that, okay, I am going to give you whatever you want. To that extent, he was devoted to his work, as well as he was devoted to Virgin Mary. There were also in the monastery poets who composed prose writings in Latin and hymns in honor of the most gracious Virgin Mary. So, apart from some people who compile books, some people who compile treaties, some people who sculpture, okay. Other than that, there were poets also. There were poets who used to compose prose writings in Latin and hymns, Latin and hymns in honor of the most gracious Virgin Mary. There was indeed one among them, Cap Picado. Okay, one among them was a Cap Picado who translated the miracles of Our Lady into rhymed verses in the vulgar tongue. That is also one of the skills. So this Cap Picado was also done about his own kind of offering to the Virgin Mary. So he has translated some miracles of Our Lady into rhymed verses, okay, in some vulgar tongue. That's another kind of devotion. Pursuing so great a competition in praise and so fine a harvest of good works, Barnabas fell to lamenting his ignorance and simplicity. Now, here comes our hero. So he looks at all the brothers. All the brothers, one or the other, is doing some or the other kind of skill, some or the other kind of work, some or the other kind of devotion, mm, to get Virgin Mary bless them. So, after looking all this competition, all this working so much hard people, he looks at himself and he laments, "Oh my God, like, oh my God, I am nothing in front of all these people. These people are very much hardworking. These people do a lot of different kind of skills to offer some devotion to Virgin Mary. So I am nothing." So that's how he laments about his ignorance, and that's about he laments his simplicity. His simplicity is in another name, that is no knowledge at all. He has no knowledge of compilation of poems. He has no knowledge of cutting the images into stones. He has no knowledge of writing books. Nothing, no idea of all those things, because he was very simple. He learned simply juggling only, right? Now, alas, he sighed as he walked by himself one day in the little garden shaded by the monastery wall. He says himself, okay, one fine day he was walking, and he used to look at all these people working so much hard for favoring, for gracing, or for offering some prayers, some kind of skills to Virgin Mary. He says, "I am so unhappy because I cannot, like my brothers, give worthy praise to Holy Mother." Okay, he says that he is not at all able to do anything like their brothers, like his brothers do. His brothers means the people, the monks who live in that monastery are called brothers. Okay, are very are doing something different. Okay, to get benefited or to get the blessings of the Virgin Mary, but he is not at all like them. Praise to Holy Mother of God, to whom I have consecrated all the love in my heart. See, he has so much love inside his heart for the Virgin Mary. but he doesn't know the way to express it, especially the ways like his brothers do. His brothers, so one of his brothers is like a sculpture, one of his brothers offers prayers in the form of poems, one of his brothers writes the prose poems in Latin, one of his brothers writes books, so on and so forth. So he is not at all, he cannot do all those things. He says, alas, I'm a stupid fellow, I can't do anything. Yeah, without art, he doesn't know any art. And for your service, madam, he is telling to the goddess Virgin Mary, for your service, I have no edifying sermons. Okay, edifying means convincing, impacting sermons. I don't know how to announce it. And no fine treatise, I don't know to write treatises nicely prepared according to the rules. Okay, as you can see in literature, there will be fixed rule to write some treatise. So he doesn't know any rule to write treatise, and he doesn't know how to write treatise. No beautiful painting, he doesn't know how to paint any art like that. No cunningly carved statues. Okay, he doesn't know how to carve a statue. And no verses. See, VRSES, verses means poems counted off by feet and marching in measure. Means he doesn't know how to write a poem which has to have a fixed counted feet. Okay, for example, you may find in Kannada that Shatpadi, okay, Bhamini, Vardhaka, it will be having a 5 feet, 6 feet of a fixed, okay, 2 into 2, 4 into 4, like that. So there is, he doesn't know any idea about how to write the feet of the poems or verses, we may say. Alas, I have nothing. What he knows, he just knows how to juggle with the ball. Okay, that was his art, but he doesn't know. That's why he is feeling now lost, or he is saying that he is a stupid fellow. Thus did he lament and abandon himself to his misery. Yes, he leaves that place again, and he laments about his ignorance, and that is ultimately that he has no knowledge, he has no extraordinary skills to offer his own kind of devotion to Virgin Mary, so on and so forth. The things are running inside his mind. So one evening, when the monks were talking together by way of diversion, he heard one of them tell of a monk. So one evening he was passing by, and the other monks were passing by against him, and those two monks were speaking about the another monk, what that monk did. That monk who could not recite anything but the Ave Maria. Okay, that was the only word who that was the only word that monk was able to recite, that Ave Maria. So like that, for example, in Hinduism or in our culture, we may say, uh, except Om Namah Shivaya, we don't know anything. Like that. That monk doesn't know anything except reciting Ave Maria. So he was scorned for his ignorance. So he was almost did not liked by all the monks, just because he was very ignorant. He was not able to learn anything beyond the expectation of all the monks. So, but after he died, something extraordinary happened there. After he died, there sprang from his mouth 5 roses. Okay, after the death of that monk, from his graveyard, there sprang 5 roses. So, 5 roses in honor of the 5 letters in the name Maria. See, in this word there is 5 letters, so that is the ultimate kind of holiness, okay, we found in the form of roses. So this is again called as some magic, some extraordinary magic. Okay, that's how his devotion was proved. Even though he was not able to read and write anything, but he was just used to recite the only some words like Ave Maria. Now from the deathbed, or we may say from his graveyard, there rose 5 roses. Okay, that rose depicted the 5 letters in the name Maria. This was the holiness made manifest. So he is pure heart. He is a purity of devotion was shown to the world in the form of those five roses. So, in listening to this story, Babas was conscious. He was very much consciously listening to that stories that that monk was known to nothing. He was not at all able to read and write. He was not at all able to paint a beautiful picture of some gods, or recite some extraordinary hymns, or write some poems. Nothing. But he was able to be get some holiness after the death. So, like this story made sprout some consciousness inside the mind of Barnabas, and once more of the virgin's benefices. So he thought about that, but he was not consoled by the example of the happy miracle. It was actually miracle, but he was not at all convinced of that if it happens in case of him or no. That was the question, that was the doubt which was arising in his minds, for his heart was full of zeal, and he wanted to celebrate the glory of his lady in heaven. He did not want to have the miracle proved after his death. He wants it now, because he wants, when he is living, he wants to express his zeal of love to the Virgin Mary, God. So that's how the things he wanted to prove, he wanted to listen, he wanted to show to the world. He sought for a way in which he can do this, okay, but in vain. He tried to do something, but in vain. It was not possible by him, and each day brought him greater sorrow. So every day he tried to write some poems, he tried to paint some pictures, he tried to cut an image in the stone. So he was not able to get success whenever it was tried. And now, yeah, until one morning he sprang joyously from his cot and ran to the chapel. Chapel means it's a place, yeah, chapel means it's a place where the image of Mary, uh, Mary was kept. So he used to go there, and where he remained alone for more than 1 hour. So he went to that chapel, and he remained alone for more than 1 hour there. What he did, it is not known to anybody. Yes, he returned thither again after dinner. Okay, after dinner he returned there only. Okay, and from that day onward, he would go into the chapel every day. The moment it was deserted, this is important. Okay, deserted means it is free from people. Whenever it is free from people, that that person means our juggler used to go there, and he used to be alone. That's very important. He used to be alone there, passing the greater part of the time which the other monks dedicated to the pursuit of the liberal arts. So other monks used to use their time to do something extraordinary in the art of their own kind, through which they want to express their devotion. But this person is just started passing the time being inside the chapel. Chapel means we may say the place where the goddess is there, simply. Okay, and now he is in front of the goddess. You may take it for granted. Yes, that is the only small place, right? Now all the people started to doubt. That's all. And yes, other scientists used to do something for to earn the graciousness, to earn the blessings of the mother. They used to do something other liberal arts, like painting, cutting stone, or writing poems, or practicing hymns, so and so forth. But he was no longer sad. Now the life is different for him. He was no longer sad at all. He sighed no more. He means he is not at all in a sad mood now. He is almost joyous. He is happy. But such singular conduct aroused the curiosity of the other monks. So this, yeah, there aroused a curiosity. What this man does in the chapel alone. So the things like that. Yeah, and later on they asked themselves why Brother Barnabas retired alone so often. Brother Barnabas means all the monks asked themselves. They never dared to ask this Barnabas. They asked themselves only that how this Barnabas passes the time alone in the chapel. And the prior also is one of them. That the doubt arose in the mind of the people, including prior, whose business it was. It was the ultimate duty of prior to look after or to know everything that his monks were doing. What his monks do, that should be known to the prior. So he determined to observe Barnabas. He decides to observe Barnabas when he goes inside the chapel. So one fine day, therefore, when Barnabas was alone in the chapel, the prior entered in company with two of the oldest brothers. So some two brothers, means two monks, and the prior goes towards the chapel. For what? In order to watch, in order to see, in order to observe what is this man doing through the bars of the door, what was going on with him, what is going on in that chapel. So that was the question roused, that was the question arise in the mind of all the monks and brothers. So ultimately the prior and the two oldest brothers decided to observe, decided to look what is going on in there. Yeah, they saw Barnabas before the image of the Holy Virgin. Yes, now both of them are peeping through the bars of the door, that Mr. Barnabas is there in front of the Holy Virgin, his head on the floor and his feet in the air. So he's doing nothing, he's just juggling. He's enjoying his art in front of sorry, he's enjoying his art in front of the Holy Virgin. Through that only he is expressing his devotion. So yeah, there is a lesson I would like to let you know at the end of this story. Yes, what he's doing, his head he is there on the floor, his feet are there in the air, juggling with six copper balls and 12 knives. So he is making his own magic in front of the Holy Virgin Mary. In honor of the Holy Virgin, he was performing the tricks which had in former days brought him the greatest fame. Yeah, fame means famous. He had become famous very much through this art only, and that is the only art he is expressing, he is executing in front of Virgin Mary, and that is the way he wants to express his devotion to Virgin Mary. That is what the greatness of the juggler, not understanding that he was thus putting his best talents at the service of the Holy Virgin. Yes, not understood by those people who are observing him. Okay, the people who are observing him was were not able to understand what this person was doing. He is just juggling, he is just making some magic. Okay, the aged brothers cried out against such. Actually, the aged brothers who were peeping through the windows called him, "Hey, mister, what are you doing there? Stop it! Just because it is a chapel, it's not at all the place to make some magic. Okay, go outside and do your magics. It's not at all running here. Okay, it's not the way to express your devotion," so and so forth. All these words were cried out by the people who were observing juggler. Yes, the prior knew that Barnabas had a simple soul. The prior had some idea about Barnabas. He knew that he has a simple soul, means without any complications, he doesn't know anything beyond his own imagination. But Barnabas, that is known by prior, but he believed that the man had lost his wits. But now prior thought that Barnabas is not doing good things. He has become mad. Losing his wits means losing, lost his wits here. Lost his wits means he has become mad. He is not. He doesn't know how to express his love. He doesn't know how to express his devotion to the goddess. So that's what the reason he is executing his magic there. All three set about to remove Barnabas from the chapel. Now all the three opened the door, came inside the chapel, and they just tried to remove him from that place. But at that instant, at that moment, at that time, yes, what did they see is all three set about to remove Barnabas from the chapel, but when they saw the Virgin slowly descend from the altar. Now there is a miracle. Now from that altar means the place where, it's a big place where Virgin Mary, the 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 image, or we may say, yeah, the image or the idol, we may say, idol murti, the image or the idol in front of whom this Barnabas was doing magic, was juggling. Now, slowly she came down, slowly descended from the altar with a fold of her blue mantle. She came down, wiped the sweat that streamed over the juggler's forehead. This was the miraculous incident. Okay, she came down and wipes. She wipes. Wiping means like this. Yeah, you can see wiping means like this. Now she came down and with her blue mantle, with her blue dress, we may say, she wiped the sweat of Mr. Juggler, which is streamed over the juggler's forehead. Now all this scene, this situation, or you may say this incident, this miraculous incident is seen by the prior. Then the prior, bowing his head down to the marble floor, okay, he thought that, yes, this is the time we have to get the blessing of the live Virgin Mary. Okay, now all the prior and his followers, his brothers, old monks, we may say, who came along with the prior, now bows down his head on the marble floor and he prays. He repeats these words: "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." Yes, means it is the ultimate meaning of this line is, if you are pure at heart and if you don't know the way to express your love or devotion to the God, you can do your duty with pure heart. You can do what you know with pure heart. You will definitely be blessed by the God. You can only see the God. Okay, not only the people who live in the temple, who always worship the god or goddess, they are not only the people who are blessed by the God, and that is not the only way through which people can see the God. People, or we may say any common man, can see the God through his own purest way of his own duty. You can express, because rich can express their devotion through their own way of offering some extraordinary resources, riches, but a poor can also offer what what small quantity of purity he had in his heart. Through that he can see God. This is what the ultimate meaning of this line, my dear friends. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Yes, Amen. Or echoed all the other brothers, bowing down to the brothers. Yeah, Matai. Yeah, like that. Yes, my dear goddess, we are also got blessed. See, this is how the things go on. This is why the reason the title of our story is Ladies Juggler, means that juggler at last was successful in convincing his love, his devotion to the Holy Virgin Mary. So through his story, our juggler is convincing us, our juggler is teaching us a lesson that it is again just the mirror of the lines said by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that do your duty and let the God shower his blessings. Okay, he will know, he will do what is needed. Just it is your duty to do the your karma, and that is what one of our 12th century saint Basavanna said, Kayakave Kailasa, work is worship. It's your duty to work. If you work, there will be worship for you. That is how the things go on. This may be a story from France, or we may say the story may be from French, and we are reading it in English. Okay, and it may be the Krishna's words, or it may be the words of Basavanna. All those depict, all those great sayings tell us indirectly in a simple way that do your duty and everything will come to you, which is need to come to you, which is supposed to come to you. It is must that you must do your duty, and without doing your duty nothing will come to you. And the way in which you do your duty, do it with your pure heart. That's what the story tells us. The things go on like this, dear friends. I'm very happy I am very happy that I have convinced you this story in a very simple manner. Do not worry if you don't understand the lesson. Read it again and again, listen it again and again, because this lesson is a universal lesson. So don't forget these lines. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Thank you very much. I wish you to see God. Okay, thank you, and let us stop here. Thank you very much.